Good morning. I have the pleasure today to welcome Professor Aleksandra Łukaszewicz, the curator of an extraordinary event that will be happening, hosted at our venue, our virtual venue, and in reality also in Nairobi, in Kenya, in just a few days. And I would like Professor Łukaszewicz to tell us more about the event, about its protagonist, about the origins of the idea and the nature of the exhibition that will be featured so soon at the Gallery Concrete. Please tell us more about the idea behind the virtual memorial and retrospective of the documentary films of the director Jakub Barua.
Welcome, good morning. It is my pleasure to be here today with you and share these ideas about extraordinary Polish-Kenyan film director Jakub Barua, on which I had a possibility to conduct research together with Professor Karina Banaszkiewicz-Sadowska since 2 years, being inspired by the previous ambassador of the Polish embassy here in Nairobi, Jacek Bazański. Jakub Barua is Polish-Kenyan filmmaker who is negotiating his hybrid background within his artworks in his films. His films are not commercial, but documentary, experimental, and very poetic. And they are showing how Poland and Kenya, that seem so distant countries and cultures, have got relations since at least 1,000 years of time, and how they are intermingling in individual histories and in general history.
Thank you for this overview. Could you tell us more about the nature of the space you have created together with your collaborators in the virtual gallery that gives an impression of both technological immersivity, but also a very intimate meeting, encounter, not just with the art and works of Jakub Barua, but also with him, with his life? How have you achieved it? Could you guide us a little bit around the space so we know what to expect and how to use it?
They worked on it with a fantastic content producer, Jacek Nagłowski, who is also from Łódź, as Jacob was studying there at the film school in Łódź. So the whole space is in the form of 8, with one side more Polish, but thinking about Africa and Kenya and Poland, and the other is more Kenyan, but also thinking rather about Polish people choosing to live in Kenya, in Africa. So it is like a limbo in which is hanging the life of Jakub Barua. He traveled one and the other side many times, being born in Łódź, but later going to school in Kenya, studying in Poland and in Great Britain, going back to Kenya. So his life is like this space, negotiating different stories in individual life, which is intertwined in general story, and is reflecting its complexity. This is a fantastic feature of Jakub's artworks, of his oeuvre, that he is so sensible to people's life, that he is representing in poetic way, not following any of the ideologies. And this is how the space is done, and this is how the life of Jakub is done. And he's Polish person in Kenya, and he's Kenyan person in Poland, how the space is done. In the middle, between these spaces, in this narrow path, there is a boat. There is a boat like the ones that are going on the Indian Ocean, that refers to one film that is not documentary, although it might look a bit like, but it's based on the invented myth, showing how much the storytelling and our narration matters, that our identities are not given. This is something that we do as we live, narrating our stories and trying to make the sense out of it. And the same we can find in in all the movies that we can trigger from the objects in the space, because the space looks a bit like, I may say, archaeological setting, with objects covered with the dust, to which you have to come close and trigger them like memories. And then you have got the poetic impressions on the films that are connected to them. Here, I followed the idea of, for example, Roman Polański, that was realized in his film and commented so later by the critics, The Knife in the Water, where objects are playing a very important role. So here we took from the films objects which are triggering memories. So it is like archaeology of memory that we experience. And when we trigger any of the experience through the object, and we see this poetic impression of the film, and when it's finished, the objects disappears, and we are left just with the shadow and with the title of the film on the floor.
Without spoiling too much for our viewers, could you tell us a little more about the films that are presented in this retrospective? Because it's a selection, obviously, from the very rich output that Jakub Barua over decades has created. Which films have you selected for the virtual memorial, and why?
Okay, a part of the already mentioned forgotten places that are settled on the Kenyan coast in around the Gede ruins that are now recognized by UNESCO as the site of common heritage of the mankind. Nobody really knows well its history. There are bits and pieces, but it's still mysterious place. Then there is the story of Miss Janina, who is embedded in the rider on the horse, relating to the film My Dad Was a Cavalryman. She's one of the children then, that came to East Africa, being released from Siberia, coming through Iran, and then reaching Mombasa and dispersing in Polish camps around East Africa. She also decided to stay in Kenya, trying to find analog elements that can bring her memories from Poland that she left as a small child. And this is a man on the horse, like her dad was, a cavalryman. Then we have medals that are referring us to the unfinished film of Jakub Barua that is called The Last Parade. And it is here there is not so much Polish influence, but rather Polish sensibility, I would say, to the problem. And this tells the story of Kenyan veterans of the Second World War who fought not for the cause, but for the father of the Queen. This is a very moving piece also. On the other side, on the Polish side, first we find the spear, that is the spear of Saint Maurice, that was like a legendary symbol of power of Polish kings. And Saint Maurice was a black soldier of Roman legions. So in the film Shadows of Poland, to which the spear refers, Jakub traces the relations between Africa and Poland throughout more than 1,000 years. Afterwards, we find also the construction to clean the rugs, like the things where we were cleaning the rugs, we Polish people, on the courtyards. That was also the social place, the place for meetings, especially for children. This relates us to the film Greeting, where a young African boy is coming at the end to this imagined Europe, and he finds himself on the courtyard in the 90s of the 20th century in Łódź, and he tries to tame this unexpected environment by songs and dances. The last object is also a horse, but now without rider, also referring us to the small poetic essay that is called The Rider. And this is the metaphor of the transition between the life and death. And when all elements, all objects disappear, when we watch all the stories, we travel all the sites, we still have the last story. We see the photographs and hear the narration about the travel that Jakub Barua realized with Linda Finch, repeating the behavior of Emilia Earhart, to fly around the world on the historical airplane. Jakub accompanied her from west of Africa to east of Africa, planning the whole trip.
I know that Jakub has already seen the virtual reality memorial through a headset. Could you tell us more about his reaction to this kind of rendition of his own life work?
Oh yes, this is a very important point, and me and Jacek Nagłowski, we were anxious to know how he will react, because the films of Jakub Barua, for the sake of virtual memorial, are made 360. So it is not only like a trailer from his film, but these are trailers made 360 with added music on the background that was composed according to the kind of atmosphere that is found there. Both me and Jacek, we also contributed artistically, may say, to the creation of the overall memorial, interpreting the works of Jakub. So this was a very important point. Yesterday, I showed it to Jakub and to his mother, that already an elderly woman who had even the experience of the Second World War, and they were both amazed. Jakub was really shaken by how well we have co-felt with him, and complimented us highly on the composition of the soundtracks, because when there are films for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, we couldn't leave the bits and pieces of voices, but making them this impressions, these memories, we added the soundtrack, especially composed for this piece. And he really liked it, and he's very excited, and he will join us on Virtual Film Memorial Hybrid Biogeographies of him here in National Museums of Kenya in Amphitheater. He's already preparing because of the challenges he has to meet, but it is very important for him, but I think that also for audience that will have the possibility to hear his story, to talk with him directly, and to ask questions.
Congratulations. I'm so excited to not only myself experience the full tour of the virtual memorial, but also to share it with the followers of Galeria Concrete, AR.T.
I also would like to use this opportunity and heartfully thank Embassy of the Republic of Poland, who supported this project, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland, especially the Department of Public and Cultural Diplomacy, whose wide horizon and deep thinking allowed to find additional funds to realize this project, that is also supported partially by HAPPY project, that is Communities and Artistic Participation Hybrid Environments, founded by the European Union.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, looking forward to experiencing the memorial and to perhaps talking more again when you come back, and we can reflect on the experience and present it again here in Poland to wider audiences. Thank you.
Thank you.